Hey everyone, welcome back. You guys know why we're here, right?
It's time for another deep dive.
Yep. Straight into the world of true crime. And, well, today's a little, I don't know.
Dark.
Yeah, I was going to say mysterious. We're talking about those cases, the ones that leave you lying awake at night, unsolved mysteries, criminal minds, all that. And I got to tell you, some of this stuff, it really gets under your skin.
Absolutely. It makes you question everything.
Right. Like, how well do we really know anyone?
And how much darkness could be hiding just beneath the surface, even in people we think we understand.
Exactly. So today, we're going to dig into all of that. We'll touch on some of the biggest unsolved mysteries, the ones everyone's still talking about. And then, well, we're also going to try to get inside the heads of some infamous criminals.
Trying to understand their motives, their psychology.
Yeah, because maybe, just maybe, if we can understand the why, it can help us see something we missed before.
Right.
Or even prevent these things from happening again.
Exactly. It's about connecting the dots, looking for patterns.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a case that I know has haunted a lot of people. The disappearance of Maura Murray.
2004. A young college student vanishes after a car accident in New Hampshire.
Gone. No trace, no explanation, just theories, tons and tons of theories, but no real answers.
It's like she stepped into thin air.
And that's what's so unsettling about it, right? I mean, think about it. One day you're going about your life, and the next, poof, gone. It could happen to anyone.
That's the thing about these mysteries. They hold a mirror up to our own lives. They make us realize how quickly things can change.
Okay, another case that really captured the public's attention, and I mean, it's still debated today, is the JonBenét Ramsey case.
1996, a young beauty queen found murdered in her own home. The details of that case, I mean.
It's heartbreaking. A
Wow.
6-year-old girl. And the media frenzy around it, the speculation, it was like the whole world was watching, trying to make sense of this senseless tragedy.
And the theories. Everyone had a theory, from family involvement to an intruder, and the evidence was so murky it just fueled the fire.
It's a case that really digs into the darkest parts of human nature. And it's still unsolved.
Which just adds to the mystery, right? It keeps us guessing, keeps us searching for answers.
Okay, so we've talked about the cases that haunt us, the ones we can't seem to solve. But what about the ones we have solved? What can we learn from those, especially when it comes to the criminals behind them?
That's where it gets really interesting. Because by studying the solved cases, we can start to understand the psychology of the offenders. We can look for patterns, for motivations, for those little details that give us a glimpse inside their minds.
So let's dive into one of the most infamous cases, one that still fascinates and terrifies people, the Zodiac Killer.
Active in California in the late 60s and early 70s, the Zodiac terrorized the entire state, sending cryptic messages, coded ciphers, claiming responsibility for murders.
And taunting the police, the public, everyone. He craved attention, control. He wanted to instill fear, and he did a pretty good job of it. What's crazy is we still don't know for sure who he was.
That's part of what makes him so fascinating and so terrifying. He represents the unknown, the boogeyman, who might be anyone hiding in plain sight.
He really played a mind game with everyone, and he's still winning, even all these years later.
And the ciphers, right. That's another level of manipulation, another way to control the narrative, to keep people guessing.
It's chilling.
Yeah.
Speaking of chilling, let's talk about Ted Bundy for a minute. This guy, he was like a chameleon. He could blend in anywhere, appear charming, normal.
And that's how he disarmed his victims. He used his charm as a weapon, luring them in with a smile, a friendly demeanor.
It makes you realize that evil doesn't always wear a scary mask. Sometimes it wears a charming smile and offers to help you with your groceries.
Exactly. Bundy's case is a stark reminder that we can't judge a book by its cover. We have to be aware, trust our instincts, and never, ever let our guard down completely.
So this might seem like a basic question, but after looking at cases like Bundy's or even the Zodiacs, I think it's worth asking. Are there common traits or characteristics that criminals tend to share? I mean, is there like a criminal profile that fits all?
You know, that's a question that criminologists and psychologists have been wrestling with for ages. And the truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Human beings are far too complex for that.
Right, right.
But there are some common threads that we see pop up again and again. Things like a lack of empathy, difficulty forming healthy relationships, a history of manipulation, maybe a distorted sense of reality,
So it's not like a checklist. It's more like,
or like puzzle pieces. Having one or two of these traits doesn't automatically make someone a criminal. But when you start seeing several of them together, along with other red flags, well, that's when investigators start to pay closer attention.
and this is where things like criminal profiling come into play. It's like what they look at the evidence, the crime scene, and try to create a psychological sketch of the offender.
Exactly. But it's not about pointing fingers or saying, this is definitely the guy. It's about narrowing down the possibilities, understanding the motivations behind the crime, and hopefully preventing future crimes from happening.
It's fascinating, really.
Yeah.
It's like detective work, but instead of just looking at the physical evidence, they're trying to get inside the criminal's mind.
Which can be incredibly difficult, right? Because we're dealing with the complexities of human psychology. There are no easy answers when it comes to understanding why people do the things they do.
You're right, it's not like on TV where they snap their fingers and suddenly have a perfect profile.
Exactly. It takes time, careful analysis, and a deep understanding of human behavior to even begin to unravel the mysteries of the criminal mind.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about unsolved mysteries, notorious criminals, criminal psychology. But now I want to hear from you, our listeners.
Absolutely. We know you guys are true crime enthusiasts just like us. You've probably got some stories of your own.
Oh, I bet you do. Maybe you grew up in a town with a local legend, a cold case that everyone whispered about but no one could solve. Or maybe you had a strange encounter, something that just didn't sit right, that gut feeling that something was off.
We'd love to hear about it. Share your stories with us because maybe, just maybe, your experience, your perspective could hold the key to unlocking one of these mysteries.
Exactly. All right, so before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on something that's been on my mind. We've talked about all these cases, both solved and unsolved, and it really makes you wonder, what if?
What if? It's the question that keeps us up at night, right?
Yeah.
What if we've been looking at these cases the wrong way this whole time? What if the answer has been right there under our noses, but we just haven't been able to see it?
Like, what if our assumptions about these cases are what's holding us back from solving them?
That's the thing about these mysteries. They challenge our perceptions, force us to question everything we thought we knew.
It's kind of a mind trip when you really think about it.
Absolutely, and that's why we love it. The world of true crime keeps us guessing, keeps us engaged, and maybe, just maybe, it can even help us make the world a little bit safer by understanding the darkness that exists within it.
Well said. And with that, it's time to wrap up another deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the shadowy world of true crime. Remember, keep your mind sharp, trust your instincts, and never ever stop searching for the truth. We'll be back soon with another deep dive. Until then, stay curious out there.
Stay curious, stay safe, and sleep tight.